First, live, local, now, on Channel 3 News.
It's been sitting vacant for years.
The school has significance to everybody in this community.
Now the Escambia County School District wants it gone. Plus, renters' rights.
I did not think they had the right to do that.
What's fair after a flood and what isn't. And then, it's an economic lifeline. The Destin dredging project nearly finished in time for summer.
Hello. Nice to have you on our Friday Eve. Let's jump right into your headlines. So happy that you're here. The Sidney Nelson School on Muskogee Road in Cantonment has been vacant for 4 years now. The Escambia County School District plans to turn it into a bus barn. Now, some people who live nearby say they're disappointed with this decision. Channel 3's Cavante Smalls has more in today's Waste Watch report in your first top story at 4.
This excavator serves as a telltale sign change is coming here in the Cantonment community. It's a change that some longtime residents are not happy about. Sidney Nelson School means a lot to residents like Josh Womack. When he learned its future meant a parking lot full of buses, it brought tears to his eyes.
The school has significance to everybody in this community.
Within the next 2 weeks, the buildings are expected to be demolished. The Escambia School District wants to create a handful of bus compound sites throughout the county. The bus compounds will be paved, have a fueling station, fenced in, and lit by street lights. Over the last few years, the district has been maintaining the Sidney Nelson property. School Superintendent Malcolm Thomas says costs associated with the bus barn conversion should be kept to a minimum because the property will only have street lights and maybe a small office building to maintain. But many residents aren't sold on potential cost savings alone.
It's enough here for everybody. Why we can't share? I just feel like we need to have this center for our kids and our senior citizens.
Superintendent Thomas says he is willing to spare an acre of the property if the county agrees to cohabitate. Many residents would like to see at least part of the property used as something else.
Now, let's put a resource center, community center here so we can take care of our elderly and our youth.
On Monday, the Cantonment Improvement Committee is expected to meet with Escambia County Commissioner Stephen Berry to discuss the proposed use for the Sidney Nelson property. Reporting in Escambia County, Cavante Smalls, Channel 3 News.
If you were evicted or asked to leave your rented house or apartment because of flood damage, you may be wondering if your landlord can legally do that. Channel 3's Callie Desimone has advice from a local attorney in your second top story at 4.
Since the recent flooding, many renters have found themselves without a place to live, and they aren't sure what their rights are after they've been evicted.
And it's not right.
I did not think they had the right to do that.
Shane Mayfield and Randy Youngblood are like many renters who can no longer live in the homes they were renting. So, what is a renter to do?
The first thing that they need to do is to get themselves educated.
Sherry Tiemann Green is an attorney that handles landlord and tenant issues. Tiemann Green says the relationship between a property owner and a renter is ruled by a lease. And if there is no lease, there are state statutes that must be followed. And ultimately,
the landlord has a duty to maintain the house to be inhabitable or livable.
And sometimes those repairs can only be made if no one is living in the apartment or home. At that time, the lease is no longer valid, which leaves people like Shane Mayfield and Randy Youngblood searching for somewhere else to live. If you are a renter and have any questions or concerns, you can contact Legal Services of Northwest Florida. For information on that organization, you can log on to our website, weartv.com. Reporting in Escambia County, Callie Desimone, Channel 3 News.
A project to make boating around Destin Harbor easier and safer is almost finished. Channel 3's Laura Hussey shows us the dredge that's been clearing out the waterways in your third top story at 4.
You may have seen this equipment maybe driving over the Destin Bridge in the last week or so. A huge operation. There's a hydraulic dredge behind me, just part of the equipment that's been clearing out the waters around here.
The channel in and out of Destin Harbor is an economic lifeline for hundreds of businesses. Erosion from this sandy strip, Noriego Point, is an ongoing problem. The sand washes into the navigation channel, making it shallower and sometimes dangerously narrow. The big hydraulic dredge was brought in by the Army Corps of Engineers to maintain the channel near the Coast Guard station. Destin piggybacked onto that project, hiring the contractor to dredge an area extending all the way from the harbor to the bridge.
It basically went from around, 6 foot, to now it's around, I think it's 11 or 14.
Smaller equipment is finishing the job inside the mouth of the harbor. With all the boat traffic, there wasn't room to bring the big dredge in.
Destin paid $192,000 to get this job done. Ultimately, the stabilization of Noriego Point is going to be funded by BP money. It just hasn't come through yet. In Destin, Laura Hussey, Channel 3 News.
Incompetence, neglect, and inaction. Those are the words General Motors used to describe why it took 11 years before vehicles with a deadly ignition switch problem were recalled. GM has fired 15 high-level executives as a result of their own internal investigation. ABC News' Karen Travers has more from Washington.
General Motors CEO Mary Barra was blunt.
This report is extremely thorough, brutally tough, and deeply troubling.
She's talking about an internal GM investigation into the recall of 2.6 million cars because their ignition switches could turn off unexpectedly, shutting down the car power and safety systems, including the airbag. The safety defect resulted in at least 13 deaths. Records indicate GM knew about the problem as early as 2001, but didn't address it until this year. Barra said the investigation found
a pattern of incompetence and neglect.
According to documents released by the automaker, the cost to fix the switch problem would have been just 57 cents per car. But Barra emphasized that the internal review found no conspiracy to cover up facts and no evidence that any GM employee made a trade-off between safety and cost.
Was a pattern of management deficiencies and misjudgments, often based on incomplete data that were passed off at the time as business as usual.
GM says the investigation included more than 350 interviews with over 230 individuals and more than 41 million documents. 15 people were fired. Barra said more than half were GM executives or higher.
Some were removed because of what we consider misconduct or incompetence. Others have been relieved because they simply didn't do enough.
GM will have a compensation program for victims' families run by an outside manager. Karen Travers, ABC News, Washington.
Well, I kind of don't even want to hear from you today because now there's a chance that we could have some rain over the weekend.
Well,
we hate
it's a chance,
that.
though. It's not a guarantee. And we always have a chance here along the Gulf Coast.
Okay.
It's so humid. It's getting into summertime events. But, we were expecting very dry conditions to continue tomorrow and through the weekend. Looks like now maybe some showers coming our way on Saturday. But we'll talk more about that in your forecast. Not a guarantee. Don't cancel your plans yet. First, a live look outside from Destin. This is the top of the Emerald Grand condos. Looking nice out there. Just a few clouds, but locally, we're just seeing mostly clear conditions. Now, there is some rain and some cloud cover to our north. Portions of Tennessee, northern Mississippi, and parts of Alabama seeing that right now. Not so much locally, and we expect to stay dry. Our first warning 3D Doppler showing no rainfall across the area. And again, don't expect that to change tonight or tomorrow. By the weekend, we'll talk a little more about that. But temperatures you can expect tonight, low 70s. We're back in the upper 80s and low 90s tomorrow. And we'll look at your futurecast coming up in the forecast.
Coming up for you on First at 4, an invasion of biting yellow flies.
They're hard to get rid of because they're everywhere.
So what can you do to fight back? And a military aircraft makes a hard landing in Pace. We have the latest on the pilots who were inside the training helicopter. Plus, you're in charge for Choose Your News, hijacked on Facebook, missing medallion, or water therapy. Find out which story you chose on our Facebook page when we come back. Also want to remind you, during the break, head over to WEARTV.com. You'll see the latest headlines, the latest weather, and you can also download all that information to your phone.
First, live, local. You're watching Channel 3 News First at 4 in high definition with anchors Lena DeFlores and Chief Meteorologist Alan Strum. Channel 3 News First Warning WeatherNet is brought to you by Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram and Ailstock Whitcomb Crease and Overholtz. Here is meteorologist Jim Carmack.
And we start with some beautiful video for you taken earlier this morning in Beulah. This is some horses outside enjoying the lovely, quiet, mostly calm day. Got a little hot out there, but still plenty of sunshine and mostly clear skies. This was taken by our Channel 3 photographer, Chris Squeak Johnson. Beautiful work, as always. You may be wondering where Alan is. Have no fear. He's actually heading downtown for the Fiesta Parade. It will be taking place this evening, and he'll be live for you there at 5 o'clock and 6 o'clock to bring you the latest there and let you know what's going on. But if you're planning on heading out to the parade, should be great conditions for that. We want to start your forecast with a look at the tropics because there's an area of disturbed weather we're watching. It's in the Bay of Campeche, or extreme southwestern Gulf of Mexico. Very disorganized right now. This is a look at it on satellite imagery, and it's not really developing into too much and not really much of a concern right now. The National Hurricane Center giving it a 30% chance to get a little stronger over the next 5 days, but just want to show you where the cloud cover is, and because it's an area of disturbed weather, the National Hurricane Center is running some models on this, so they're all over the place. Some take it to the north and maybe toward the northeast, most of them going west and some to the south. So again, not much of a concern right now, but something we'll be keeping an eye on over the next few days, just in case it does meander a little further toward the north. Here's a look at our southeastern satellite radar imagery. The closest rain we see is north portions of Mississippi, as heavier rainfall and storms up through parts of Tennessee and North Alabama. But locally, again, we're looking really nice, clear out there this evening. Should be a very mild night. Our first warning, 3D Doppler showing no rainfall across the area and don't expect any. Tomorrow, a bit of a different story as far as rain chances. I think we'll stay mostly sunny through the day. Could see an isolated shower or two, but the rain chance is small, about 20% overall for the area. A hit or miss shower could pop up tomorrow afternoon, but that's going to begin to develop a chance where we see the rain chances go up just a bit. We'll see this on Saturday because the Futurecast putting a lot more green on the map. Saturday morning, 9 a.m., you see the rain coverage we're looking at. Possibly, again, I still wouldn't say it's a washout Saturday, but looks like about a 50% chance for rain, and that number may be adjusted as we get closer to the time period. Saturday night, the rain chance seems to go way back down. Current temperatures, not too bad if you're in the southern end of the counties. 85 in Pensacola, 84 in Destin, but 90 right now in Crestview. The same number for you in Evergreen, Alabama. We've got some upper 80s through southeastern Alabama. And our forecast for tomorrow keeps our temperatures in this same range, maybe mid to upper 80s toward the coastline, and then low 90s inland, like 91 in Century, 92 from Crestview, maybe 87 in Fort Walton Beach, Navarre, 88 for you tomorrow in Pensacola. So the current wind speeds coming from the south-southwest, about 10 miles per hour. So a nice breeze for you this evening. Tomorrow on the waterways, seas about 1 to 2 feet, winds from the southwest at 10 with a light chop in protected waters. Here's a quick look outside from the Island House Hotel over in Orange Beach. Lots of folks enjoying the day there. A little bit of surf coming in, and we're actually expecting yellow flags tomorrow at Pensacola Beach as well. Surf should stay a little rough. We have a view for you from the Hardee's Beach Cam on top of South Harbor Condos. There it is, looking nice there locally for you also. Very nice conditions, but take along the sunscreen and don't forget to drink plenty of water. Here's our 7-day forecast. We do again expect mostly sunny skies tomorrow with a small chance for rain, 20%. 50% Saturday, scattered showers on and off, maybe a thunderstorm or two, but I think some breaks in the clouds as well. That'll get our temperatures up to the low 90s. We're staying in the upper 80s and low 90s through the middle part of next week, and our temperatures, again, staying pretty consistent, a little above normal this time of year. Overnight lows in the low 70s with that chance for rain Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, staying about 20 to 30%.
Traffic Watch, brought to you by Pensacola Honda.
Live look outside for the afternoon commute, taking a look at I-110 and Airport Boulevard. Things moving nicely in both directions, but looks like one side a little heavier than the other, but no problems out there to slow you down. Why don't you come on in here and lead the way for Choose Your News. Today on our Facebook page, you chose a story about a missing medallion. Now, the mother of a fallen New York soldier needs help tracking down a gold Marine Corps medallion that was taken from her son's headstone. And to make it worse, it was stolen on Memorial Day. Dora Scheidel reports.
Vicki Arnold's son, Jeremy, sacrificed everything for his country.
I never imagined one of my boys wouldn't come home.
Lance Corporal Jeremy Lasher was killed by an IED while serving in Afghanistan 5 years ago.
When you lose a child, I don't care how you lose them, when you lose a child, the pain never goes away.
To deal with that pain, she visits his grave in Oneida at least twice a week. But the day after Memorial Day, she noticed something missing.
How do you steal from the grave of a Marine on Memorial Day? And that's the day it was taken. We've narrowed down the time frame. We know when it was taken.
Jeremy's fellow Marine, Kyle Castle, was one of the first on scene when the explosion hit. He was awarded a medallion for his heroic efforts that day. Kyle ended up marrying Jeremy's sister and left that coin behind for his brother-in-law.
For Kyle to leave that coin for Jeremy, that was his gift. And for somebody to take it is unforgivable.
it symbolizes what they went through together. It symbolizes what Jeremy stood for. It symbolizes, you know, what every fallen Marine stands for.
Every year since Jeremy was killed, the family gets together with the community in Oneida in July to release balloons in Jeremy's honor. Jeremy's son Caden is flying in from Arizona and wanted to leave a gift he had made him for Father's Day on his gravesite, but now he's afraid that will get stolen too.
I now have my 6-year-old grandson who is afraid to leave a gift for his dad because somebody might take it.
The family is hopeful the medallion will be returned.
The coin is not worth any money. You know, it can't even be melted down and be worth anything.
But when it comes to sentimental value, it's a coin worth everything to this family.
We hate to hear that story, but we appreciate you choosing it just the same. And tomorrow you can do it all again. Just tune in for Dayside. Also check out our Facebook page in the morning for your next chance to choose your news. Now coming up next for you, local children in need of just basic necessities.
They have children. They need socks. They need shoes.
But an Escambia County employee is stepping in to help. And not all fat is bad for you. Understanding the difference between the good ones and the bad ones when we come back. Let's take you to Santa Rosa County for some headlines now. A Taco Bell that was destroyed by fire nearly a year ago reopened today. 12-year-old Navarre resident Jacoby Moody was the first in line at the grand opening at 10 o'clock this morning. The restaurant burned on June 28th of last year. The fire marshal says the fire started in a light fixture. And for the first time, the Escambia County School District is opening a clothing closet for students in need. So new or gently used clothing is available for all children attending schools in the district. Channel 3's Ricky Van takes us to find out how this became a reality.
Welcome to the county's new clothes closet. Look at this nice dress and this gently used jacket. All of this was donated by district staff members. We spoke with a woman who thought of this idea and told us she's happy to help.
Director of Jacqueline Harris Preparatory Academy, Celestine Lewis, met with principals from around the county and asked them what their kids needed.
There is a commonality of our needs. They have children. They need socks. They need shoes.
She has worked for Escambia County Schools for 14 years.
Socks, tights.
She keeps clothes at her school just in case they're needed.
I don't believe in giving. That's not me. And I want to be crystal clear. I believe in giving people a helping hand.
The closet will be staffed only by volunteers. It will open in the fall. The plan has the endorsement of Superintendent Malcolm Thomas.
62% of our students are on free and reduced lunch. Sometimes families just don't have the money. Cold weather, like the winter we've had this year, it's more intense than we've ever had in Florida, and they just may not have the heavy jacket that they need for that weather, and they can't afford it. And so when teachers see that, they absolutely want to have a way to help.
Lewis says without the support of the superintendent and the school board, this closet would not be opening.
1, 2, 3. This was a mission that the Lord wanted me to be involved with, and I'm so grateful. I don't have words to say how I feel. I can't even describe the words how I feel for the boys and girls of Escambia County and for the families. I don't have words. And that's all I can say.
The county is now accepting donations from the community. If you would like to help, go to WEARTV.com for more information. Reporting in Escambia County, Ricky Van, Channel 3 News.
First warning weather, powered by Pensacola State College.
What a great idea.
Very cool.
And so easy to help, too. You know, I was looking out there. I was sleeping most of the day, so I don't even know. That's why I look forward to these videos of what happened in the morning. I'm sleeping.
Those of us who are out and about, it was absolutely beautiful out there. Plenty of sunshine, a few clouds here and there, but no rainfall locally. Here's some video to prove it. This was taken out near the Floribama, Perdido Key, right near the state line. This is by our photographer, Tristan Turner.
Nice.
Looking really good. Not so much the case in other parts of the country. This is from parts of Kansas, northeastern Kansas, near Topeka. Severe storms rolled through there, of course, knocked the power lines down. Nothing we haven't seen a lot, unfortunately. Every time we see these, severe storm videos, the trees down, the power lines down, that sort of thing.
Is there a storm system going on
Yes and no. I mean, the Midwest and the central portion of the U.S. is where you're going to get these storms this type of year. Oklahoma and Tornado Alley, those areas, Kansas. That's where you typically see this kind of stuff. And so that's a look at it on the national satellite radar imagery. You can see that area of storms just now rolling into portions of Tennessee. Moving out of Arkansas, but that's where it was yesterday, and it kind of came across that area. So this is the national map. That's the area where we're talking about, where we're watching, and that's where the storm was moving. But it is getting a little closer to home. We are not expecting any kind of storm system like that to come locally. The center of the storm systems this time of year moving a little to our north, and that's why we typically see those pop-up storms through the afternoon once we get into the heating of the summer. But we're a little ahead of schedule, seeing some definite heating going on out there across our neck of the woods. But other than that, the rest of the U.S. pretty quiet, especially back to the west. Some scattered rain showers to the northeast New England area, but pretty quiet overall. Talking about some heat, we've got some 90s through portions of the state of Florida, 85 here locally, but 91 as we get to the west in Houston, 92 from Albuquerque, or we could be at 104 in Phoenix. It's been extremely hot there through portions of the state, and that will continue. Compare that to, look at this, current temperature, 69 in Los Angeles right now, 104 in Phoenix. Tomorrow's forecast, very similar. They're calling for a high of 107 in Phoenix, so if you're traveling that way, just don't. It's just really, really hot. I wouldn't do that.
Here.
94 expected tomorrow in Dallas, but 88 for you locally with some clouds moving in. I think we'll be mostly sunny, though, overall tomorrow. Small chance for some scattered afternoon showers. Our rain chance goes up a little bit on Saturday. We'll talk a little bit more about that in your full forecast coming up a little bit later in the show.
That's my hometown, Phoenix. I was about to miss it, but not now. So it is warmer, which means you're probably hitting the beach, wearing sleeveless, shorter shorts, thinking about eating light, maybe avoiding some fat in your foods, but not all fats are the same. There's good, bad, and ugly, and reporter Holly Furfer explains the difference.
Fat gets such a bad rap, and with good reason, but not all fats are lousy. There are actually good fats and bad fats, and we need the good type every day.
Good fats actually help to keep your heart healthy. They keep your blood vessels healthy as well. They help to keep the skin smooth. They provide energy.
You find them in nuts and seeds, avocados, and vegetable oils such as olive oil, canola, and peanut oil.
You can also get them from fatty fish like sardines, salmon, mackerel, lake trout.
Eat them in moderation, about 20 to 30% of your daily calories. And the bad or saturated fats, we know them all too well. They lurk in foods we love: fried foods, baked goods, cookies and crackers, fatty meat, and high-fat dairy. Eat less than 10% of your daily calories from these foods and stay clear of anything with partially hydrogenated fats on the label.
So when you eat more of the common bad fats, it actually causes your liver to produce more bad cholesterol, and over time you end up damaging your blood vessels.
So as you shop, reach for the good fats and let the bad guys stay on the shelf.
But the bad stuff tastes so good, am I right? Hey, I want to say congratulations to our fan of the day, Donna Henderson. Hi, Donna. She wins 4 passes from the Southeastern Teen Shakespeare to see The Taming of the Shrew at Pensacola Cultural Center. And for your chance to be our fan of the day, get a shout out here on First at 4, click the Connect 3 button on our Facebook page. You'll find us at facebook.com/WEARTV. Now coming up for you in our second half hour, a city shut down as police search for a crazed gunman.
We want the public to remain calm and indoors as much as possible.
The suspect heavily armed and already accused of killing 3 police officers. And a yellow fly invasion, what you can do to keep them from biting you all. You're watching First at 4, Northwest Florida's first choice for News at 4.
First, live, local, now, on Channel 3 News.
A training helicopter goes down in Pace, the investigation into what the military calls a hard landing, and on the defense.
We saw an opportunity and we seized it, and I make no apologies for that.
President Obama answers questions about the prisoner exchange that saved Army Sergeant Bo Bergdahl. And then, a senior prank goes too far.
If you're going to do a prank, I guess it just don't go to the extreme and don't get caught.
The students involved now facing felony charges.
First warning weather, powered by Pensacola State College.
Well, hello, friends. So nice to have you here. Welcome back, or welcome on in, whichever it is. We're happy that you're here. And a lot of our team actually is on their way downtown for the parade.
Fiesta Parade tonight. Yeah, it should be perfect weather for that if people are heading out there. And yeah, Alan will be here doing the weather live and kind of giving us a preview of what's going on coming up at 5 and 6 o'clock. So, in shorts. You're
Never
so excited about that.
Before. Right? Yeah, you're like, hey, look at those.
Just legs.
Yeah, well, I get bored easily.
But I've got to look at your forecast before that, and it actually looks really nice. Here's a live shot outside from Destin. This is the top of the Emerald Grand condos, and you see a few clouds in the sky, but we are not seeing any rainfall locally. Don't expect any tonight. That may change a little bit toward the weekend. We'll talk more about that in your forecast. Closest rainfall that we see across the southeastern U.S., though, is coming well to our north, portions of central Tennessee, stretching to the northern portion of Alabama and Mississippi. And other than that, looking really nice. I mentioned our first warning 3D Doppler showing very dry conditions out here locally, and that will hold true tonight and tomorrow. Looking at overnight lows in the lower 70s with mostly clear skies. Tomorrow, a few more clouds mixing in. It's possible we see an isolated rain shower, but the rain chance is pretty small, maybe 20% tomorrow. As we wrap up the work week, temperatures back in the upper 80s and lower 90s. Tomorrow night, we're back in the low 70s. A few more clouds on Saturday and that chance for rain. We'll talk about that coming up.
Thank you. A military training helicopter made a hard landing this morning in Pace. Happened just before 10:30 at Spencer Field, which is an outlying landing field for Whiting. 2 people were on board, a student and an instructor pilot. They were both taken to the hospital to be checked out, but they have since been released. The incident is now under investigation. And a military jet crashed into a California neighborhood, and people who live there say it was a miracle that no one was hurt.
Well, get out of the way!
Incredible video here. The crash set several homes on fire. This happened in Imperial Valley. Now the flames and the smoke could be seen for miles. Emergency crews rushed to that crash site. The fire consumed 3 houses and turned cars into twisted metal here you're seeing. Well, the pilot, who was on a training mission from Yuma, Arizona, ejected before impact. He landed safely with just minor injuries.
Out of the plume of smoke, the parachute comes out, and he's way up there, but he's just coming straight down already.
Just crashed in this house right here.
Can you imagine? Well, moments before the pilot crashed, he reported problems flying the jet, and he received permission from the local airport to make an emergency landing. Investigators plan to interview him and figure out why and how this crash happened. Now, the fallout over the release of American POW Bo Bergdahl continues in Washington. Now, overseas on his European trip, President Obama defended the decision, and ABC's Kristen Fisher has the latest.
Today in Brussels at the G7 summit, a defiant President Obama defended his decision to approve the deal that won the release of Army Sergeant Bo Bergdahl.
We had a prisoner of war whose health had deteriorated, and we were deeply concerned about, and we saw an opportunity and we seized it, and I make no apologies for that.
But Republican critics on Capitol Hill are hammering the administration on several aspects of the deal. The lack of congressional consultation, the claim that Bergdahl was a deserter, and the Taliban prisoner exchange.
There's a reason why the Taliban wanted those 5 individuals released. These 5 individuals, as I've heard another senator describe, were potentially the crown jewels.
As experts continue to analyze the Taliban-released video of the prisoner exchange in Afghanistan, back in Bergdahl's hometown in Idaho, his welcome home celebration has been canceled. Organizers cite security concerns over big crowds, both for and against the soldier and the deal that freed him. The president says he's not surprised by the controversy. Today, he called it par for the course.
This is not a political football. You have a couple of parents whose kid volunteered to fight in a distant land, who they hadn't seen in 5 years and weren't sure whether they'd ever see again.
Now, Bergdahl is still recovering in Germany, where a Pentagon spokesman says he is showing signs of recovery. He's more engaged in his treatment, and he's now again speaking in English. Kristen Fisher, ABC News, Washington.
The acting Veterans Affairs Secretary says the agency will release data on patient wait times within a week here. Sloan Gibson made the announcement while visiting the Phoenix healthcare facility that sparked this investigation and scandal. Now, family members allege veterans died while waiting for appointments. Gibson says the audit data will be listed by location and it will be released on Monday. He also says the agency is making changes to improve care for veterans, including sending patients to hospitals and doctors outside of the VA system. A massive manhunt underway in Canada, about 150 miles from the U.S. border. Thousands of Canadians in the city of Moncton are hiding inside their homes. They're holed up as police continue to search for a heavily armed suspect that you're seeing in these pictures. Now, he's accused of killing 3 police officers and wounding 2 others. Vanessa Bernachez watched in horror from her window as the shooter gunned down an officer with the Royal Canadian Mounted.
He started banging at the window, telling the guy to turn around. That's when the shooter shot him and he was dead.
Now, the slain officers were responding to reports of an armed man wearing camouflage when he allegedly fired at them with a high-powered rifle. The gunman has been identified as Justin Bork. The city is practically shut down here. Schools, public offices are closed. Public transportation has been canceled as this manhunt continues. The city is considered one of the safest, and until today, hadn't seen a homicide in nearly 2 years. We're bringing the latest there. A high school prank ended up being no joke for nearly a dozen students in Virginia. They now face felony vandalism charges after allegedly dumping flour, eggs, chocolate sauce, and chicken juice around the school. Wayne Cobble has this story.
So this is something that kids will see every day, and it's unfortunate.
Chocolate syrup on the sidewalks may seem like an innocent prank for some high school seniors, but more than a week later, the profanity in 2014 class year, written in the dark liquid, has permanently stained the concrete sidewalk.
Clearly, we're investing a lot of man hours and staff time, in addition to actual money, trying to remove what was placed on the property of the school.
11 students, including 8 18-year-old seniors, face felony vandalism and misdemeanor trespassing charges for the prank, which also included pouring raw chicken juice around the Varina High School campus.
If you're going to do a prank, I guess you just don't go to the extreme and don't get caught.
The Varina students charged in the prank walked out of court Wednesday morning after their first court appearance and had no comment about the charges. In mid-May, 9 Goochland County High School students were accused of taking a school golf cart and using it to damage the football field before crashing it. They also used silly string and sidewalk chalk to write graffiti. They had their first court appearance on Monday. They each face misdemeanor vandalism and trespassing charges.
I know I shouldn't, but I love that kid's comment. Don't get caught. Hey, coming up next for you, move over and save a life. The crackdown on Florida highways happening this month. And as we go to break, a live look for you from Emerald Grand. Hey, did you know that June is Move Over, Slow Down, Save a Life Month? The campaign used to better educate drivers about the Florida law. Channel 3's Amber Southard explains.
The Move Over law in the state of Florida has been around for years. Basically, when you see an emergency vehicle like this on the side of the road, get over into the other lane or slow down to 20 miles per hour under the posted speed limit.
Move over. Sounds simple, right? But many motorists fail to do so when they see emergency vehicles and tow trucks on the side of the road, making it dangerous for emergency workers to do their jobs.
You gotta move or change lanes if it's safe. That's a law. And it's a smart thing to do for other vehicles too.
Bruce Knighty was pulled over by a state trooper and got a taste of just how dangerous it is to be on the side of the interstate with traffic whizzing by at 70 miles per hour.
Make me feel a lot safer if they would get over, because they're flying by and right here on the edge of the road like this is pretty dangerous.
The goal in June is to not only crack down on the law, but to help educate those who might not know what to do when they see the flashing lights on the side of the road.
If you don't move over, you could face a $166 fine and 4 points added to your license. Reporting in Escambia County, Amber Southard, Channel 3 News.
T-Mobile and Sprint reportedly are merging. The terms have Sprint paying about $32 billion for T-Mobile. Now, the companies are still working on the final formal contract, but the buyout could happen as early as this summer. Now, if it does go through, the merger combines the country's 3rd and 4th largest wireless carriers. Hey, if you love Folgers or Dunkin' Donuts packaged coffee sold in grocery stores, you're going to be paying more. Prices are going up 9% here. J.M. Smucker Company makes the coffee products and blames the increase on the drought in South Africa. We told you about that before. But the company says that K-Cup packs are exempt and prices at Dunkin' Donuts franchise stores aren't going to be affected here. Auburn University using some new technology to literally build the foundation for new oak trees at Toomer's Corner. Now, construction crews have installed a modular underground structural system known as Silva cells to support the new trees. Auburn's campus planner says the system is specifically designed for trees to thrive in urban environments. Crews will also install specially mixed soil formulated by horticultural experts to support tree transplants. Now, the original trees, you'll remember, were poisoned by Alabama fan Harvey Updike, and after 2 years of trying to save them, the trees did eventually die. They were taken down in the spring. Now, the first phase of this project should be complete by mid-August. The new trees are scheduled to be planted early next year. Nice to see them coming back. You know, a Soldiers Florida home was taken over by squatters.
I was expecting to come back to a disaster from what I saw and what I heard.
The Good Samaritans who repaired all the damage by the time he returned from war. And the Twitter hidden cash craze has made its way here to Florida, the clues that led to envelopes of money in Jacksonville.
First, live, local. You're watching Channel 3 News First at 4 in high definition. Channel 3 News First Warning Weather Net is brought to you by Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram and Ailstock Whitcomb Crease and Overholtz. Here is meteorologist Jim Carmack.
I want to start your forecast with what's going on in the tropics. There's an area of disturbed weather in the southwestern Gulf of Mexico, the Bay of Campeche. It's very disorganized right now, not too much of a concern. The National Hurricane Center giving it about a 30% chance to develop a little stronger over the next few days. It's bringing a lot of cloud cover to the central Gulf of Mexico and southward over the Yucatan Peninsula, but that's about it. Not showing much in the way of any kind of development right now, but again, something we'll keep an eye on. Models still really early, all spread all over the place, so nothing we can really garner from that right now. But if it does get into the Gulf of Mexico and move a little further to the north, something we may be watching or talking about a little later on in the week. But right now, nothing to be too concerned with. Locally, clear skies, nice across the southeastern U.S., though there are some rain and even thunderstorms showing up to our north, portions of Tennessee, northern Alabama, northern Mississippi. But locally, we're mostly clear and very dry. Our first warning, 3D Doppler, showing those dry conditions. No rainfall for you through northwest Florida. Don't expect any tonight or tomorrow. There may be some periods where the clouds kind of roll through and maybe an isolated shower does push in. Maybe tomorrow afternoon would be the best time frame. We're calling it a 20% chance for rain on Friday. And again, 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. If we see any rainfall at all tomorrow, then the rain chance goes up for us by Saturday. Rain becomes a little more likely, a 50% chance for some scattered showers through the first half of the weekend. Still not a guarantee, but something we're going to be watching, and those numbers may adjust as we get a little closer to the time frame there as well. Current temperatures mid-80s in Pensacola and Destin, 90 for you right now in Crestview. And we expect temperatures tomorrow to be very similar, mid to upper 80s south of I-10, 88 for Pensacola, 87 in Navarre and Fort Walton Beach, 89 likely in Milton, but then low 90s from Century and Crestview tomorrow. So another hot day with mostly sunny skies and only that small chance for afternoon rain on Friday. Our current wind speeds coming about 10 miles per hour from the south-southwest. And we look at our boating forecast tomorrow. Seas about 1 to 2 feet, winds from the southwest at 10 knots with a light chop in protected waters. A quick look outside for you. I want to show you what's going on there. This is a view from the Island House Hotel over in Orange Beach. See a little bit of surf there developing, as well as a live shot for you from the Hardee's Beach Cam on top of South Harbor. Nope, on top of, nope, not there. Okay, nope. And we are expecting yellow flags to be flying again tomorrow at Pensacola Beach with the water temperature heating up, looking at mid to upper 70s along the Gulf waters. There's a live shot for you. Again, looking pretty good out there. Still some people enjoying it, but if you are heading out tomorrow, make sure you know the flag conditions and swim nearest the lifeguards. So here's our 7-day forecast. That small chance for rain tomorrow, more likely for Saturday, but looking like a dry pattern for Sunday. So we'll keep mostly sunny skies in the forecast other than Saturday, with temperatures staying a little above normal for this time of year, looking at some upper 80s and lower 90s through the weekend into the early part of next week. And as we look ahead into the chances for rain, maybe 20 to 30% for the middle part of next week, but certainly not a guarantee. Overnight temperatures staying in the low 70s. Pretty good overall.
Does this look like I'm being
Is it
attacked?
attacking you? I'm glad it's facing your way, not mine. It's nasty.
Yeah, because it has been, as we know, so wet and so warm. And fortunately, it's the perfect breeding conditions for these guys.
Yeah, yellow flies. They're just nasty, nasty, nasty. Today I got a chance to look at what's going on out there. They're here year round, but they're
Coming out
they've been
now.
picking up a little bit of steam. Yeah, we took a look at what causes so much discomfort and what you can do to fight back.
Yellow flies. They're just plain nasty. Ask anybody who's been bitten by one, they'll tell you how much it hurts. But why are they so mean? And is there anything we can do to stop them?
They are a true fly, and they just have an interesting characteristic that the female needs a blood meal in order to continue her egg development.
Okay, so kind of like a mosquito. Well, doesn't sound so bad.
But unfortunately, when they bite, they actually have kind of a razor-like mouth part, and so to get that blood meal, they actually make a nice cut on you, and people have a really severe reaction a lot of times.
Because they're classified as a nuisance pest, Escambia County does not actively treat for yellow flies.
They're hard to get rid of because they're everywhere.
So what can you do to avoid the bloodsuckers?
We just try to keep them at bay as best we can with the use of repellents when we're outside trying to cover up if we have a big problem with them, or using some interesting type traps.
Interesting indeed. We found one homemade remedy on the internet that involves a beach ball, black spray paint, and some sticky stuff called Tangle Trap.
You take a beach ball and then you take the spray paint and you blow the beach ball up and paint it black. You hang it up and then you spray
The combination of the black ball and motion in the wind attracts the yellow flies to the sticky surface. And then they're stuck.
That way they don't bite you no more.
And it must be working because Barnes was sold out of Tangle Trap today. But more is on order. Now, if you don't want to deal with the sticky stuff, there are still some old-fashioned products that work pretty well. Reporting in Pensacola, Jim Carmack, Channel 3 News.
You just made my day with that. You just made my day. Nice work, my friend. You know, Sarasota, Florida has a new crime fighting program. It's called Waste Watch because Waste Management has partnered with local law enforcement. Now, sanitation workers started training this week on what to look for and how to document emergencies along their routes. Waste Management says they hope to do their part in the community to help prevent crime. Now, police say it's a valuable step in community policing initiatives.
We support a community policing philosophy. This is community policing philosophy. The bottom line that you saw in this video is very simple. If you see it, report it.
Now, drivers will get booklets to help guide them in gathering details for law enforcement. They'll also have special ways to contact police if there is a crime. And a happy homecoming on Wednesday for a soldier in Newport Richey, Florida. His home had been nearly destroyed by squatters, and it was renovated and ready for him to move in. Kate McVeigh was there when he came home.
With 3 simple words, the Sharkey family got their first glimpse of their newly remodeled home.
I was expecting to come back to a disaster from what I saw and what I heard, and I wasn't expecting anything like this.
Broken windows, torn up floors, and filth everywhere. This is the before shot of the Sharkey home. The aftermath of accused squatters Julio Ortiz and his girlfriend Fatima Cardozo, who Sharkey says took over the place while he was deployed in Afghanistan.
All I wanted was them out and the house boarded up, and I was going to work on it here and there and try and get it back to being livable.
But instead, a group of local veterans did the work for him and surprised the family at today's homecoming celebration.
They're clean, they're beautiful, the kids have their own rooms back.
This is the house that I raised my family in. My boys grew up here. My daughter, she grew up here also. We lived here for 16 years.
And now it's livable once again.
Are you one of my tweethearts? Are you on Twitter? Well, if you are, you know there's a hidden cash craze and it's made its way to Florida. So people rushed around Jacksonville yesterday following clues on Twitter trying to find the hidden money. The craze started in California with a wealthy philanthropist who tweeted hints directing people to hidden envelopes stuffed with money. He calls it an anonymous social experiment for good. So another anonymous Twitter user has now started an account for Hidden Money Jacksonville, hiding envelopes with $20 to $100 in cash. So the hidden cash Twitter pages have spread to New York, Colorado, other cities, or states rather. So people are encouraged to use the money to do good deeds. Nice. Coming up next, did you spend your childhood visiting the Gulfarium? Then send in your memories. A special project to celebrate 60 years of the Gulfarium when we come back. The Gulfarium celebrating 60 years, and they want to see your memories. They're collecting photographs from visitors and former employees to be used in the celebrations next year. The Gulfarium opened on August the 14th, 1955, and it was known back then as the Living Sea. It was the first major attraction along the Emerald Coast. Since then, millions of people have enjoyed the marine animal shows. The Gulfarium also looking for any original postcards or brochures from the park to display during the anniversary next year. So if you have anything to share, you can call 243-9046. Thanks so much for stopping by here on First at 4, and Channel 3 News at 5 starts in about a minute and a half.